Welcome to The Pulse, where we delve deep into the issues and ideas that are shaping the future of education. I'm your host, Rick Surrency, Superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and each week we'll be talking to teachers, administrators, and other experts in the field about the latest trends, best practices, and most pressing concerns in education. Whether you're a teacher, a parent, or just someone who cares about education, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the pulse. Hi, this is Rick Surrency. I'm the superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and welcome to our podcast known as The Pulse. And I have a very distinguished guest today, and man, I've been looking forward to this interview for some time. We have Scott Lagasse, who many of you know is a former race car driver and enthusiast race cars, and he's going to talk to us today about an exciting project that's going to take place here in our great city of Palatka, and I think many people have heard about it, but I think a lot of people may not have heard about it, and this is something that I think is going to really benefit our entire community. And Scott, welcome to our podcast today.
Thank you, Rick. I enjoy being here and looking forward to spending some time.
So before we talk about the project, I just want to, for those that probably not many people have not heard of you, but just talk about a little bit about your background, if you don't mind.
Well, I grew up here in Palatka. I mean, the important years. I moved here with my family, and I think it was 68 or 69 from Melbourne, Florida. And in fact, I went to St. Monica's Catholic School just across the street here,
Okay.
and then it was a junior high or middle school,
right,
just across the street as well, and then over to Palatka South High. And in fact, there used to be a quarter-mile or eighth-mile little clay track that we would run around back here, just behind your building here.
Just right out there.
It's I have a place in East Palatka, Federal Point, and just spend a lot of time in St. Augustine. We have a business over there, so that requires some time. But Palatka's home, and just tickled to death that we can put this project together and do it here.
That's great. And what year did you graduate from South?
75.
I'm a 75 graduate too. Not from South. I was in Hawthorne.
When I snuck out and went to, at the end of 10th grade, went to the VOTEC over in St. Augustine, and I kind of knew what I wanted to do or felt like I did, so I just tried to get an early start at it. So.
Don't we both look so young to have 50 years of graduation past us?
I don't know about looking young, but I did go to the 50-year reunion here a couple of months ago, and a lot of those people look really old.
Yeah.
So
they just don't look the same as they did 50 years ago, do they? I had one too. So, well, that's a good thing to know right there. But tell us about the project. That's what I think the big topic today, and it's an exciting project. So,
So it starts out, my son and I have a business in auto racing where we do a lot of training for mostly the oval track, really talented oval track racers around the country. Mm-hmm. And they get to us through a couple different routes. One of them's GM Racing, and some people we know, just other relationships in Charlotte, but that they need to learn, instead of oval track racing, they need to learn to sports car road race, because NASCAR does do some road racing now. So that's the bulk of our business, and that's grown. We've been dreaming for years about having a training facility. Mm-hmm. It's pretty hard to put that together, not just from cost, but location. You have to pay for it. It just takes a special model, and we finally developed what we believe is a business model that'll work. Mm-hmm. We needed the right piece of land, and we looked at a couple different areas. And I just kept saying, because Scotty and I both spend most of our time over near St. Augustine, now, Crescent Beach area, over that way. And so it just made sense, and we got to looking out at the airport and needed to be in a place where noise wasn't a stranger, right?
Sure.
There is some noise around, and I don't think we'll make a terrific amount. A lot of our cars aren't that noisy, but it needed to be an industrial type location, and what better than Palatka? And we want to grow a destination, and we needed a lot of land, and this piece of property we purchased is. The main piece was 430 acres, and we bought another 60 next to it. So we feel like we got enough property now. And
now, if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of in the corner of 309 and
Highway 100.
100 in that corner.
Yeah, just we share about a mile of property with the airport runway as well, and about a mile and a half along 309C.
Right.
And so far it's gone really well. The Planning and Zoning Board gave us a 7-0 vote in favor of it, and the county was a 5-0 vote. And we have another meeting with the county on next Tuesday.
Good, good.
So far it's good, and just trying to work through it.
Now, my understanding is people could, a lot of your clientele would be maybe people outside of Palatka that would like fly in and then have a garage apartment on the site. Is that, am I correct?
There'll be some of that. There'll be some people that are local that want to purchase a garage and have a place there, and most of those won't be full-time residents. We will have some residential property there, but that's in later phases. It'll be a small amount, and but most of them are garages that have a mezzanine that they can convert if they want into a temporary living space, like a little apartment or something. Yeah.
And I heard you say there might be like a small hotel located nearby.
Yeah, we're thinking that early on, maybe a year 2 or 3, that we would do a small lodge, maybe 25-room lodge, because we'll need some extra room overflow. That we'd like to do something kind of, classy, not real expensive, but upscale. So we're thinking with that. The architect of record, that's Cube 3, they're quite a fascinating group, and they come with a lot of experience and vision, and they think that we'll eventually, if our plan works out, that eventually it will be a destination and there'll be a need for a hotel. So that's always a possibility if there's not something close by the quality that we want or need, then we would just carve out a piece of land up toward Highway 100 and work with somebody to do a hotel.
And great access right there off a state highway. Let me ask you this: is this a pretty unique project, or are there other ones like that around the country, or do you know?
Well, yes and no. There are some projects similar but they don't incorporate the level of sophistication or specialized training. The track will be a professional level track, fully accredited by the FAA and by all safety standards. So that requires a lot of extra expense. And as where there are some of these garage condo, and they have maybe just a road that's a mile and a half long or something with a couple of corners in it, but it's not really a racetrack, or really can't do high-speed training for
Doesn't have the embankment like we would see at a Daytona 500.
We won't have any big banking, but there'll be some elevation change and there'll be some small banking. But most of these type that are done like this for members, garage members, like it's Motorsports Country Club, don't have the professional level of racing facility. We don't plan to hold Saturday night races and weekly racing of any kind. We'll stay pretty booked from the training aspect.
Yeah.
We expect, if things go as we plan, we'll not only support St. Johns County and Putnam County law enforcement and first responders, but I think we'll do quite a bit of business with law enforcement agencies around the state.
Where they can come in and actually try practice or train for some of their emergency driving.
You need a lot of asphalt. You need some spaces with a lot of asphalt with safe runoff, where officers get an opportunity to do some high-speed pursuit and find the limits. That's really what it's about. Auto racing isn't a whole lot different than a lot of sports where you practice a lot and you just, it's a learned sport. The more you do it, the better you get. But for the law enforcement officers, they need to understand that speed when they do something and how they react with the car, what happens to the car. And then, they do this thing called a pit maneuver where they actually make contact with another car that they need to stop. And so it'll be a facility where they can do that.
Right. And what kind of car, and we're talking about cars that people might bring in. Would these be a variety of type cars, or would these be standard type racing cars, or how would you describe it?
I would say the bulk of the cars that utilize the track will be street legal Porsches, Corvettes, Ferraris, just all types of high performance cars.
Right.
That'll be a pretty typical. And then we'll have some race cars there. we actually, our team, our group, my son and I, not only do we train the younger oval track racers to drive on road courses, we also have a race team that we run as 3 to 4 cars per weekend. It's a 12 race series that we compete in, and so they get to actually after they do their training, they get to hone their skills at a racing level.
You know, one big thing that I always talk about is how the community can get involved, and or can they get involved? I mean, people outside the community. I mean, do you see any way where is this something people can come out and watch, or is it? I mean, any involvement at all outside that people that may not have a car, or how do you see that?
Yeah, well, I think there's several different ways. We've decided to build a karting facility, and it's all and develop a ladder system, if you will, so that whether kids, younger adults, or even adults. I mean, I haven't driven a kart in the last 5-10 years, but we had a couple of karts that we train on, and I'd get on one every now and then. But we'll have a very well-equipped karting facility.
Like go-karts?
Go-karts, yeah. But, and maybe we'll open up some days where kids can just putt around a little bit and get familiar. But, we'll have different age groups and levels of experience that will be able to utilize the facility. And there'll be a little club building there, and they'll be able to buy their equipment there and just come experience what motorsports is about. And then we expect to work with the college. We'd like to develop a STEM program where we already train mechanics. Seems like we train people and then somebody else steals them. So that kind of goes with the territory. You want to help people climb the ladder. We've got a young engineer that's been with us for 5 years. We expect to lose to one of the top NASCAR teams this next year. They wanted him last year, and we convinced him to stay with us one more year because we've got so much time invested in him. But he deserves. He could operate at the highest level. So we're going to probably see him move on, and we've got a young girl that we've helped get through University of North Florida Engineering School, and so now she's full time with us. She'll have to fill in that space, and we'll start training the next one.
Well, you're doing good when other people want them, and you can't hang on to them. So, and you mentioned the college, and of course, our high schools have automotive programs too.
Yeah,
and just love to have our kids somehow get exposed to that and whatever, and maybe something that some kind of future for some of them, when they audit, whatever that looks like, but. I know our kids are talking about it already, and I think there's a lot of excitement about it.
Yeah, we'll have some events out there, an open house where people can come out once we get everything going. Optimistic plan or schedule is that if everything goes well with the permitting and all the county regulations, that we could break ground as early as February of next year, but we certainly hope sometime soon after that, and then it'll take about 12 to 18 months to get. I'm thinking more like 18 months before we're up and going, but it could go really quick.
Now, would that be the track and some of the garage apartments, or?
Yeah, I would say within 18 months we expect to have the track down, and then the main building would encompass a showroom where we'll have some cars on display, and ground floor, and then we'll have some working facilities there. And then the second floor would be some offices, maybe event space, and third floor would be a lounge, restaurant type atmosphere, and then the top floor would be a viewing area.
So that'd be like an all-inclusive place. And especially when you get to your hotel, people can come in and they can stay there, eat there, drive, and all that.
Yeah, we expect. I mean, we're excited about showing them Palatka. We work with the city a little bit, and my brother and his wife, we have the little marina downtown that we're starting to fix up. We've owned it for some years, and we'd like to, and we already tried this out. So the architect name is Nick Middleton, and everybody in the community will get to meet Nick at some point in time. He'll be around a lot, especially because we showed him the downtown. He's from Boston, he's from Miami. They've got offices all over the country. And when we showed him downtown Palatka and toured the area, he's like, wow.
Yeah.
So he's a big fan. He wants to spend some time here, and yeah, I think the other people are gonna have that same reaction.
You know what's really neat? I'm an old history teacher, so I love studying about the way things used to be, and you probably heard this too. Palatka used to be, back at the turn of the century, used to be a destination city.
Yeah, 4,000 hotel rooms
Yeah,
at one point in time.
and a fire took it out, and of course you know all the history of the Azalea Bowl and Babe Ruth playing out there and all that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And of course, this is way besides the point, but while we're talking about the old days, we had the old baseball field named after Jim McCool.
Yep.
And we honored the 1975 baseball team that won the Palatka South, that won the state championship that year.
Yeah, I played ball with all those guys through Little League and intermediates. I didn't play ball in high school because I was ate up with motorsports and already, but yeah, a good group of guys, and that was fascinating time back then. And what a terrific stadium! It doesn't look the way it used to look.
Yeah, with the grandstand going.
Yeah, but it was. I think we had one of the best ball fields in the state. And
Absolutely.
to be able to play there as a little leaguer and intermediates was pretty special.
You know, we brought back, since we were honoring the 75 team, we also brought back the championship teams of the 1960s. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yep.
But a lot of those old guys came. And what was really cool is we had a gentleman, and I can't think of his name, but I'll think of it before you leave, who actually drove all the way from Houston for that event. And come to find out, he is actually a world-renowned pilot. He actually flew the SR-71 and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Came right, and I'm sure you would know him or knew of him. He came from right here at Palatka South. So that was kind of cool meeting him, and of course all the old timers that showed up. So just a lot of history here. And
There really is. Just a lot of the guys, Bobby Payne and Swaggerty, and there's a lot of guys around. I don't get to see many of them very often. I remember Clay Townsend and the Kites, just the Rash family. There's a lot of neat people that grew up in this area.
And I'm a transplant. I came here in the 80s, but my wife grew up here and all that. And, you know, it's just a good place to be. And I just want to personally thank you for coming back and investing in your community. And not many people, especially with your success, would have done that. But I really want to honor you for doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, I just love being around here. I've always, people that know me know that I've worked hard most of my life once I got out of school. But my vision's always been to retire out at Federal Point and just be a river rat. I mean, I grew up in the river. We used to make hyacinth rafts and float around the river. We were just crazy, but that's, when I can slow down, that's what I want to do. You'll find me on the river doing something.
Hey, that river, I've got a boat too, and I love being on the river whenever I can find time to be out there, so.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you, and can't wait to see what kind of response we get from your show. And keep us posted, and definitely come back, especially once you get it up and going. And we'd love to. And let me ask you this: is there if anybody has any questions about anything, is there any contact information or website or anything you could share?
Yeah, I don't think the official site is up yet, but certainly we have a motorsports website. It's called Team SLR, TEAM SLR, and you can go there and you can follow some of what we do, and we'll have some of the track information on that. But as soon as we clear all the hurdles on permitting, we'll believe this thing is real. We already think it is. So. In fact, I want to invite you out as soon as we get the building done and we're up and going. You need to bring your podcast out there.
Absolutely. We can do a remote podcast out there, so I'd love to do that. So, Scott, thank you again for being here. And, we'll definitely look forward to you coming back and maybe bring some guests with you or whatever you want to do. So, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you at our next podcast.